Good evening, everybody. I'm back with another episode of Cryptah's Quest, my Dark Elf Shadow Knight that I named Cryptah, who's on a quest to kill bad things to make good people like her. Um, I'm here in High Keep, and I teamed up with a nice mage who is helping me kill the goblins. So far, it's been pretty smooth, and I'm hoping it stays smooth. I'm also hoping that more people don't kind of show up and just start killing everything like they did before. I mean, it's not too big of a deal. Like I say, it's all just a game, and I try not to take it way too seriously. But at the same time, I also try to be as courteous as possible to other players. Where if I'm, like, say, kind of too high level for a dungeon or something, and maybe I was there first, but there's another player that shows up that can really get XP there, I'll leave. I will leave because I don't think it's fair for a high level character to kind of hog a low level dungeon. A dungeon that doesn't give them any XP. If you're just there to farm some kind of thing and someone shows up that can actually get XP from that zone, then, I mean, it's up to you. Everybody's different. But I usually surrender the camp if they really want to hunt there. No, I don't just, blindly, like, run off. I kind of try to assess the situation. In some cases, people are happy to share. You just, be polite with others, and they're usually like, yeah, I don't care. We can each take turns or whatever, or you kill the critters on this side and I'll kill the critters on this side. It doesn't really matter so much. I can always log into another character somewhere and play. There's like all these different servers. I'm usually not like heartbroken or tore up if something doesn't go my way in the game, which is a huge step forward from how I used to be in this game. I used to get upset mostly if I died, but back then we used to have to do corpse runs, and I remember once. This was before. I'm pretty sure this was before we had POK and that sort of thing. I fell in the hole. That's the zone in Uridan where, if you fall in the hole, you're screwed because it's an instant death. I don't know. I think I might have been using auto follow and it didn't go quite right or something. And I fell in the hole and I ended up calling in sick to work just so I could have enough time to go and hunt down a necromancer and bring him to Uridan, and the hole, and then pay him to summon my corpse. I didn't even bother trying to get a res to get my XP back. I was just like, no, screw that. I'll eat the XP loss. It's hard enough to track down a necromancer willing to do me this favor. I'm not going to try to track down a cleric too. And I never had that much platinum to begin with. I was never good at like wheeling and dealing with people on EQ back then, because I always I always had the feeling that, you know, it's a game and we shouldn't try to, you know, take a ton of money from someone in a game, although it was game currency. So I really don't know what I was thinking. I just always felt like, I don't know, nobody else had platinum, so what gave me the right to charge a bunch of platinum for something that, you know, I found on the floor? If it was like a ground spawn or it was just on a corpse, which is very similar to finding it on the floor. And sometimes I would just give things away to like a newbie or whatever, and they would be really grateful. They'd be like, "Oh my God, you know, how much is this? What do I owe you? Thank you," you know, because it might be like an enchanted sword or something like that. And I'd be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I found it on the floor," which technically it wasn't not true, you know. Pretty much any loot, you find it on the floor after the critter dies or whatever. So yeah, I was never a very good salesman in Everquest. I got better because I realized, yes, they may all just be pixels, but they have value. Just like, you know, I knew it had value because I'm willing to pay someone else to summon my corpse or to resurrect me when I die or to, you know, make enchanted jewelry for me or whatever the case was. I knew it had value because I was willing to pay for this stuff. And I think that just goes back to like some personal issues that I have where I thought this was, you know, I was younger. I was in my early 20s. And I thought things that I do or anything related in relation to me has no value because I had no value. It's kind of a deep thing to be getting into during a video, but, you know, I find it all kind of funny right now, you know. These days, it's just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm old, I don't care. I find a lot of it really kind of funny. I don't really take things seriously. And just kind of, like, I don't know how to explain it other than you can kind of think of my personality as a sleepy drunk or a stoner that's always stoned, but without being actually drunk or stoned. It's just like that level of no fucks to give, or, you know, no shits or to give or whatever. Everybody says something different. But yeah, if you don't care, if you have like zero fucks to give, that's for the send some of this to the nice mage here that's helping me out. Cloth armor and Og that I already had. So let's see how many ears I have so far. 10. And you know, Cryptah over here is a Draken mage, so she doesn't really care about the factions so much. Drakens are pretty much, they're not loved, but they're not hated anywhere either, except for maybe Ixar, because I think the Ixar, they just want to hate everybody no matter what. And so, you know, that's them. You know, bless their little hearts for being so hateful. They make dark elves just seem downright cuddly in comparison. I fucking hate this. They really make it a challenge to get up out of there. My stupid skeleton pet was like, I'm coming, boss. I was like, yeah, you don't need to come. Stay the hell up here. That's why I parked the skeleton kind of like halfway up the stairs, because I wanted to have plenty of time to find that back button so I can make them go back, because I know I'm going to get hit here and there. See, yeah, that's where I made him stand. And I'm kind of tempted to make him stand up a little further. Let's say follow and guard here. Like way up there. You stay way the hell up there. And that way I have even a little more time to... whoa! There's one popped right there, like almost on top of me. Sometimes the sound on my thing gets a little weird, like, I'm like, why did it suddenly get so quiet? I'm hoping with the few ears that I have already turned in that I won't need the enchanter to do illusion human again. I might, I don't know. I actually better not do the horse here, because I'm not going to have enough room. I'll just drink another soul potion. Yikes. 3 of them. God, I have to hit back. There he was. He was getting close. All right. So, I'm sure everybody's noticed that they definitely recycled a bunch of models in Everquest. For example, a ghoul is basically a goblin, but with a spoopy looking skin on it. You know, it's just retextured. But I'm bringing this up because I remember trying to run through Kithakor at night, and this is before I knew it was completely cursed. Kithakor Forest or Kithakor Woods is completely cursed at night, and there's nothing but undead and evil dark elves that are all really high level, like 50-ish, ready to make you their bitch. And it really sucks going through there if you don't know that. And I just remember one day running through Kithakor at night. I think it was either a barbarian shaman, because my primary characters was a barbarian shaman, a gnome mage, and a high elf enchanter. And if you didn't already realize, my YouTube channel is named Fezzelwig's Forum, and Fezzelwig was my gnome mage. That was basically my primary character. It's also the character that I've got to the highest level so far, which is 90. Yeah, I never maxed out. Well, I maxed for like several expansions ago, but I'm always late on leveling up, probably because I just kind of have a bit of a cavalier attitude. I don't even know if I'm using that right, but a relaxed attitude about playing the game. I wouldn't really say I'm a casual player, because I lost a lot of work hours playing this damn game. I called in sick plenty because of this damn game. However, I was never really into the high-end raids and that sort of thing, mostly because the few raids that I did take part in, were just awful. I was sitting there for like 2 hours, and I only had 3 to 4 hours a night where I was able to play the damn game because I worked. I worked a lot. I worked a lot of hours. So I only had so much where I can actually play. And so I'm sitting there for like 2 or 3 hours, and it was like a 15 to 10 minute fight. And of course, I never ever won a single roll on any of the decent loot that were to drop. I would kind of always be out of luck when it came to, the really nice high-end raid loot drops. Either I wasn't a member of the guild long enough, or, I was at the bottom of the line or the list because, I was newer. Just, there was always some excuse where either I would get to roll and I'd lose the roll for it, or I wouldn't even be allowed to roll on it because of their particular guild rules. And I understand, you want your best people to have all the best gear, but at the same time, it doesn't really encourage new people to want to join and stick around. Now, I've been told that it sounds like I was just in a real shit guild that didn't know how to organize, because there are some, I've been told, some guilds where you're not sitting around for 2 to 3 hours waiting for everybody to show up. You sit around for 10 to 15 minutes for a 10 to 15 minute fight, where it's all just so much more organized and streamlined. And if that's the case, then hey, that sounds like it would be a cool guild. But eventually I just kind of, gave up on guilds, and I just made my own. Because, who doesn't like that extra bank space to store stuff in, and also you can easily share things with your other characters and stuff like that. So, yeah, I made my own guild. I usually tried to give it a funny name or whatever. And yeah, that's that story. I don't know why I went on this long tangent. Where did it get? Oh, because I was talking about, like people showing up and taking camp and things like that, and how my attitude has changed over the years about stuff. I believe that's where it all started. Wow, some of these guys are green to me already. Well, that's kind of depressing. So I wonder how many ears it takes to turn in. So the what do you call it? So the halflings or the hobbits will start to like me, because that's kind of a goal. Two, because I want, I figured I got the elves to love me. I got the wood elves and the high elves to love me. I mean, not all of them, because I can always try to go back later if I feel like it and see if there's other little quests that I could do, turn-ins, that now that I'm not KOS to everybody, where I can build a faction with different factions within those cities. But considering that the primary guards don't want to kill me, that's good enough for me. I call that a win. And I'm pretty happy with that. So let's check. Why are they not dropping ears anymore? I've had like 10 left goblin ears for such a long time now. You know, I'm only up to 11 now. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking more time has passed than actually has passed. Not sure. This is going by pretty good because the mage has a cleric mercenary. I have my rogue mercenary. You know, it's pretty good, seamless DPS, and having some fun here, camping the goblins. I wouldn't mind trying Runny Eye, but the aggro has always been really unpredictable there, where you can get trained really easily, or you know, you just if one manages to run away a little bit, it just balloons into a big mess, and I don't really love that. Wow, I think, did we clear it all already? I mean, I know this room, the room up here is starting to pop again. So I might sit down for a sec to recover some lost mana. So yeah, oh, you know what we can do is we can go and try to see if I can turn in any of my ears to Mr. Captain Balsack over here. Let's see if he accepts one. Nope, I would need the illusion again. So I'll wait until I have more before I go and bother and wake my enchanter again to turn in these damn ears. I mean, at least it's dubious with him. Like, you know, he's not trying to kill me, and I can feign death, but unfortunately, feigning death doesn't help. They nerfed that too, where you can no longer give an NPC an item when you're feign death. So I guess using an enchanter is their preferred method. So I guess really it's not cheating. Because why else have an enchanter with those illusions and everything in the first place? I guess the cheat was using feign death. Because if it wasn't a cheat in the developer's eyes, they would not have nerfed it, right? But it's still a disappointment because it was, you know, for some class and races, it was the only way to sort of get around not having the faction as high as it needed to be. But I guess it gave enchanters a job again. The funny thing is that the way the developers pick and choose what they want to fix, because look at all the wizards and the druids that were completely put out of work when they introduced first Luslin with the Luslin ports. Although those were really slow, you had to wait a very long time So they were still fairly inconvenient. But I think the real thing that kind of broke the game for a lot of those quick travel classes, druids and wizards, was Planes of Power with the introduction of POK. But you know what? They had fast travel back in the Kunark days, where they originally let players bind themselves to the fire pots in, I think it's called Timorous Deep, and that was a Kunark zone, and that had little teleport fire pots that let you go to almost every major city. The only one that was excluded, which I feel is really shitty and kind of stupid, was Quanos. For some reason, you could not get a port to Quanos from the fire pots. It would take you to Uridin, which who wants to go to Uridin? Hollis, which, sure, it's just sort of, it's not a super long run from Hollis to Quanos, but Quanos was supposed to be its own legitimate city. They had one going to Freeport, so it wasn't like they hated the humans. It just seemed a little bit weird that the fire pots excluded that city. Because you know what they could have done? See, they had a fire pot going to Felwith and a fire pot going to Kelethin. The entrances to those cities are in the same damn zone. You couldn't have just had a fire pot for Kelethin, and then from Kelethin it was a very short jog over to Felwith. It was just so dumb. It was a much longer run from Hollis to Quanos. So, like, they even had one for a cannon or Akanon, however you prefer. I played a gnome most of my EverQuest life, and I still pronounce it either Akanon or a cannon. I never really made up my mind how it should be pronounced. I hear some folks pronouncing it like Akanon and some pronouncing it a cannon. So yeah, even back in the Kunark days, you could travel using the fire pots. Oh, finally, another goblin ear. But see, the funny thing is they kind of went back on that too, because while they did have the whole fire pots and they did let you bind there at first, they removed the ability to be able to bind at the fire pots. A bit later on, it was like, I don't know, like a month after or something. And I think Project 1999 server basically, went with that same thing. They allowed people to bind at the fire pots at first, and then locked it to where you couldn't bind there. But then there's all these people that just stay bound there so they can fast travel anytime they want. And I played on P99, and I gotta tell you, I managed to get my enchanter and my mage bound to those fire pots. And it made doing the Steinamagok quest for the enchanter so easy and convenient and quick. Because, you can use a fire pot to get to Uridin, to get to Urid's tonic. And then from there, you can either take a boat to Quanos from Uridin, but that always took forever waiting for the boat. And sometimes I'd end up missing the boat, or I'd like get distracted while I'm on the boat on my way to Quenos, only to end up not getting off in time. Um, so I usually, once I got my tonic, I would gate back to the fire pots. Then I would take the fire pots to Hollis. And from there, I would just run to Quenos. I would get my fish. I'd usually just make a disposable alt character, log out of the enchanter, log into that disposable monk or wizard. Wizards were usually pretty good because if the fish starts to swim away from you, at least the wizard can still nuke it, as long as you get to like level 2, you can usually take out the fish. You got killed a lot, but it didn't matter because it was kind of a character you just made just to kill that fish. And then it was always a thing where you had to hurry up and log out when you killed it, because you needed to log your enchanter in fast enough to loot the fish before it decayed. And with Project 1999, it was always had a lot of bugs where between logging in and out, the client would crash a lot. And so you would have to completely restart the game, and sometimes you're competing with another enchanter to loot that fish. And if the other enchanter is just hanging out and they see a dead fish in the pond, they're not going to assume that you're coming back. They're gonna loot that fish from you. And that's how most enchanters got the fish for that Stein of Magog quest. And then you go to Misty Thicket, or Rivervale. Bleh, almost said Riverdale. Rivervale, which is the halfling city, and you gotta bop a bunch of bixies on the head to get the honeycombs. You turn the 3 honeycombs in with the 30 gold, and you get your honey gem. And usually, no, back, skeleton pet, back. And then there was the Keola nut, which usually that was on Ocean of Tears. I would just buy up like 12 of them at a time and keep them in the bank or whatever, and just so I can quest it easy without needing to get to Ocean of Tears again for a little while and get more of those nuts for the quest. But yeah, by running that quest a whole bunch of times, but thanks to the fire pots, I was able to make a few thousand plat with my enchanter, who was only like level 22. She wasn't a very high level. There's like no way she would have made those thousands of plat otherwise, because at that level, you're on anything under level 30 or 35 even, maybe on the classic server, wouldn't be able to fight a hill giant to where you would start seeing thousands of plat. I guess if you were a really, really shrewd businessman and you spent hours or days, weeks in East Commons Tunnel, and you were able to buy low and sell high, then I guess you could make thousands without being a high level player. Sorry about all that. I just had all this info lodged in my head. And yeah, it kind of exploded. So, yeah, this was me killing goblins with this really cool mage. And I got to level 29, so that is pretty cool. I might kill these a little bit longer off camera, but I don't want to make another 40-minute video. I think I talked enough. So thanks for watching, and I will probably get my enchanter on here shortly to turn in these ears and try to get more good race faction, because you all know the whole reason for this account and this character, Cryptah, is for the good races to love her. She just wants to be loved. So you all have a great day and a wonderful tomorrow.